What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Playing off-meta champions can often come with quite a lot of advantages, and either way it's super fun and can often bring some great results too. And the 3 off-meta support picks I have for you today I really like a lot because if you win lane really hard with them, you can actually build some damage after your Sightstone and become somewhat of a secondary AP carry and carry a lot harder than a normal support would, which turns into a really fun playstyle. Anyways, let's get started. The first off-meta support champion that is great in solo queue is Lux. Lux has a lot of really high range poke and crowd control, which in combo with her passive makes her laning phase quite strong. She has more than enough harass to be a lane bully, and with a super long range binding has some great pick potential as well. She's super squishy though and can be vulnerable to burst damage combos, so watch out for champions like Graves and Annie and anyone else who has some really good burst, especially at level 6 when they can potentially get the jump on you. In teamfights she can do quite a bit of work with her crowd control and shield, as well as output some very relevant damage with her ultimate. The skill shots can be outplayed sometimes in lane, but in teamfights kiting with her bindings tends to be fairly easy. If you pick up some kills, you can go for a pretty sweet AP build too, with the potential to one-shot a squishy target. Just make sure that you build a Sightstone. As well, due to her skill shot nature of kiting, although she does a great job versus tanks who are fairly immobile, she can be very vulnerable versus mobile assassins, so watch out for them and be careful of them using their mobility to dodge your skill shots. Next up we have Lissandra. Lissandra's support is actually a little bit tough to play since the ranges on her abilities are super low, which can make her laning phase especially a bit tough, but as far as her kit goes, she actually has some quite overloaded tools for support. Having an area of effect slow and an area of effect root is quite powerful for kiting, and her ultimate is great for locking down a target to save your carry, or for a more aggressive play like to create a pick. Her teamfights are quite strong due to the large amount of crowd control in her kit, and her ultimate makes her mid-game really good since she can create picks quite easily with a point-and-click ultimate that combos well with her snare for about 2.5 to 3 seconds of point-and-click crowd control on a target. In addition, her lane isn't too bad once you hit level 6, since her ultimate tends to let you go for some burst combo all-in fights, so if you play her with a burst damage 80 carry, you can definitely come out on top in the laning phase. Positioning with her can be a little bit tricky due to her short ranges, so unless you're going for a pick with her ultimate, I recommend playing fairly defensive in teamfights and letting your teammates engage and focus mostly on kiting, since she can do a great job of kiting tanks with her snares and slows, as well as to shut down assassins fairly well with her ultimate. And lastly we have Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz is a really cool support pick, and his knockup actually makes him really powerful. Having an area of effect ranged knockup is super strong, both for picks and kiting, and especially for turning fights around. And it's cool because if you ever hit the knockup on someone, you pretty much get to just unload your whole kit on them. And with the slow as well, the amount of crowd control and defensive tools that he has is certainly enough for him to succeed as a support, and his damage and harass is very long range, and he has fairly low mana costs, so he's able to be a very powerful lane bully. And when he hits level 6, his burst damage combo is quite potent, especially if your AD carry can back you up with some additional damage, so he's fairly easy to come out of lane with a few kills and transition to an AP build after your Sightstone. However, he is quite squishy and can be fairly vulnerable to harass and burst damage combos himself, and so he requires you to position fairly well with him. In teamfights, he's pretty good at kiting tanks and can output a lot of damage that your team can use to kill targets. However, he is extremely vulnerable to assassins since his knockup is really easy to dodge if you have mobility, so taking an exhaust on him is really important. But if you get fed, you can actually kind of carry pretty hard since his utility is fairly useful, and if you can become a relevant damage threat, killing tanks with him as well as squishy targets is easy, and so kiting them out is not a problem for him at all. So he's super powerful if you win lane, which isn't really that hard to do due to his long ranges and massive damages. And that just about wraps it up. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button to support me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.